Welcome back to another episode of Marvel Man 901. So today I'm gonna talk about Fantastic Four, Galactic Guardians, Fantastic Four yet again but in the 60s, 2099 Unlimited featuring both Hulk 2099 and Hazzard 2099, and the characters Chief Examiner and Black Tom Cassidy. So I'm gonna start off with Fantastic Four issue 390 from 1994. Now this is a very complex story, so do keep up. Anyway, it's basically three stories, three things happening at once. Basically, the first story I'm going to talk about is in a distant alternate reality future thing here. Basically, the whole Earth is doomed after apparently the Fantastic Four failed against Galactus. Basically, Uatu had tricked the Thing and Invisible Woman alongside Ant-Man and Submariner, unfortunately, to come to this alternate reality and looking for Psilord, who is of course the son of Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic. At this time, naturally, Mr. Fantastic is supposedly dead. Anyway, Uatu explains why they are there. Basically, that in this reality, it was the only reality that they actually failed against Galactus at this first appearance. He explains how this happened, that instead of choosing the Human Torch, as he had done in every other reality to find the alternate nullifier, basically why he chose the Human Torch was because he was, basically ignorant about the whole scientific stuff that Galactus had on his ship. He decided to choose Reed instead, Mr. Fantastic, to find this. And it obviously was a big mistake, as when Mr. Fantastic came to the ship of Galactus, he was so astonished by all these amazing things, and he decided to find a different, more powerful weapon to fight Galactus. And apparently it took such a long time that he actually failed to save Earth. Galactus apparently sucked in all the life force he needed from Earth and then doomed it. So the second story here is basically about Lyja, or Laserfist, the Skrull wife of the Human Torch. Basically telling the Torch that the egg that she had just delivered was in fact not his. He's not the father, which we could see in the previous issue. It was a big surprise, and to be honest, she doesn't exactly explain the whole egg situation here. She more explains everything that happened up to this time. So basically she explains that she and, by Pybok, the Power Skrull, basically, she got this mission to copy Alicia Masters and take over her role on Earth, as they had basically captured Alicia. So she naturally came to Earth, and eventually, if you have read the comics, you know this, she was basically found out to being a Skrull. This was a huge reveal, I remember when I read it at first time, and eventually on Throne World, on the basically home world, or at least a big time world of the Skrulls, she basically sacrificed herself for the Human Torch and was believed to be dead as the Fantastic Four left the planet right before it was exploded. However, Pybok, who apparently had been betrothed to her in the past, saved her just in time before the explosion and eventually actually took her to some kind of laboratory where she was basically enhanced to become this Laserfist, having these laser powers, and possibly even having the whole egg thing. Maybe. It's a little bit unclear here, actually. So basically, naturally, Human Torch is very upset about this. Just to have a little note here about the guy we can see here as well. This is Rafe Suarez, who apparently got the Laserfist powers by touching the Skrull egg. He basically just wants an explanation as to where the hell these powers came from. So Human Torch is upset, so he basically leaves and then comes back after he hears that the egg is about to open or to hatch. So he runs down and then he's teleported away. Now, why he's teleported away is because of the first story here again. Uatu basically gave a choice to the Invisible Woman and the Thing about basically saving this Earth, basically rectifying this mistake. Naturally, they would do it, even though they realized that they probably would die doing this. Ant-Man and Submariner basically teleported back to their own time, and Invisible Woman and the Thing basically teleported away, and apparently so was the Human Torch, and they ended up facing Galactus for the first time, or whatever, basically back in time yet again. So, the last story on this issue is about Psilord, the son, naturally, of Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman, Franklin Richards, and apparently his aunt, Hontara. They are basically in Elswen, this place outside of time, talking to Cargill, who's basically the warlord there, basically the guy who has dominion over the whole place. And apparently Psilord wanted answers about who the hell the Dark Raider was, the guy who was killing Reed Richards all over the multiverse. Apparently Cargill knew who that was, and he actually explained that this is in fact Nathaniel Richards, the father of Reed Richards and the grandfather, naturally, of Psilord. Huge shock. Naturally, Psilord gets very upset about this, so is Hontara. Huntara naturally, but she kind of calms herself down considering where she is and all that. However, Psilord is fighting. He's really, really upset about this, especially that he can't actually get any help to fight this murderer. So eventually, though, he is almost arrested, but he managed to fight off along with Huntara, and they basically run away. So, continuing in the next issue. So, I'm gonna talk about the first issue of Galactic Guardians from 1994. So just a side note here, the timeline of these Guardians and naturally the Guardians of the Galaxy as well, as this is the same timeline, it diverged from the mainstream Marvel timeline in Marvel 2-in-1 issue 69. So after 69, everything that happens after that did not happen in these Guardians' history. Something completely different happened. Anyway, Mainframe, otherwise known as actually Vision from way back, apparently 1,000 years or something like that back, he sensed another system blackout, apparently something that happened before, coming along, and he needed to basically shut down to find what anomaly is causing this, basically causing him not to actually sense what it is and causing the whole disruption naturally. However, he's basically the life support for a planet down below, which is called Haven. And he needed someone to basically be a power source for this life support. So he used the 9th Phoenix, Gerard, who basically was from Haven, so naturally he would do this. Also, the leader of these Galactic Guardians is naturally Martin X. So he told Firelord and Spirit of Vengeance to basically patrol around the planet, make sure that nothing weird happens, something like that, and basically report. Meanwhile, he also tells Replica, this Skrull member, to basically shrink down, go inside Mainframe's computer hub, whatever, to find an anomaly that's probably hiding inside of Mainframe's body. He of course, Martin X, will of course guide her through this. While this happens, Mainframe goes out to find Hollywood, otherwise known as Wonder Man, actually from way back as well. He eventually finds him, and we kind of finds out why Wonder Man, or Hollywood in this case, really hates Mainframe. Apparently, at the whole invasion from Mars, as you can somewhat see in the Killraven stories back in the 70s, was basically happening, and Wonder Man was supposed to help fight alongside the rest of Earth's heroes, but the Vision teleported him away right before the battle, and Wonder Man basically blames Vision for the fall of the human race. So it's kind of heavy there. So just another last sidetrack here, we have Silverback, probably the first time I've seen this guy anyway. He finds himself on the Rainbow Bridge on Bifrost and fights Heimdall, almost kills him, and then he's fought by Woden, who is apparently the son of Thor. So we're gonna continue this in the next issue. So back now into 1964 with Fantastic Four issue 26. It continues from the previous issue where Fantastic Four fought the Hulk. So just to realize this, the only Fantastic Four left, member of the Fantastic Four actually left to fight the Hulk is the Thing. Eventually the others will come along, but at the moment it's only the Thing. However, the Avengers shows up as well, along with the rest of the Fantastic Four members, and it's a bit of a bickering between these two superhero teams. So they kind of fight each other almost as much as they fight the Hulk. Eventually, after a lot of fighting, Rick Jones, obviously having close relationship with the Hulk, kind of throws in a gamma-treated capsule into the mouth of Hulk, basically a capsule that he got from Bruce Banner way before, and this kind of changes him almost instantly back to Bruce Banner, and he managed to escape in the Hudson River. So, gonna go back now to 1994 to the 2099 Unlimited issue 5. So, there's two stories in this one. It's basically the Hulk 2099 and Hazzard 2099. I believe this is the first time we see Hazzard in this one. The first story here is with the Hulk 2099. It's basically about his sister being fake kidnapped. Apparently, she just wanted more money from her brother. She didn't really like or care about or anything like that. Anyway, the Hulk naturally changes into the Hulk and goes after his sister to find her. And he fights this very powerful villain called Volks. Very nasty fight, and eventually, after a lot of fighting, he managed to defeat Volks and actually gets the truth out of his sister, as she then realizes that naturally her brother is actually this monster, this Hulk. So when she gets his credit card, she kind of realizes that the money is actually not everything. She kind of wants to learn more about her brother. So it kind of ends with them having a little bit better relationship. Okay. Hazzard 2099, basically Haphazard is this VR video hero guy who apparently in this video basically hunted down some kidnappers. Nothing really interesting about that actually. However, there was this kind of ionic shards or something like that, basically hit him and kind of changed him into an actual real character. basically this, well, I guess you could say kind of a code virus character who can actually take physical form, something like that. It's very messy, actually. It's very difficult to actually follow in this story. Very confusing, actually, but at least it's a new character, I guess. So now I'm gonna talk about the two characters that I have for today. First one is Chief Examiner. So he was introduced in Quest Probe issue 1. So this is very weird character, actually. An interesting story overall, actually. So in a different planet, far away, there's this war. So this civilization who is on this planet has basically no weapons, no defenses, or anything like that. So then we're in desperate need of help. So apparently this scientist, this Chief Examiner, he basically wondered if he could duplicate powers of superheroes that he basically observed on Earth. So eventually managed to create this thing actually very quickly. And he went there to basically duplicate these powers and actually managed to save his planet. So this character is not shown in a lot of things. His powers are, it's not exactly anything special more than the whole duplication thing that he does. It's very mystical, well, not mystical, but mysterious overall, actually. Okay, so the last character I'm going to talk about, the last entry actually for today, is Black Tom Cassidy. Now, his real name is Thomas Samuel Eamon Cassidy, and he's obviously Irish, and he's cousin with Banshee, and, well, it says cousin, but I believe it's uncle to Siren, naturally, as Banshee is, of course, Siren's father, so it kind of makes sense that Black Tom Cassidy would be the uncle. Anyway, he was introduced in X-Men issue 99. He has basically been fighting the X-Men or the X-Force, Deadpool. He has a close relationship with Juggernaut, actually, which is kind of interesting, actually. He also kind of got this weird tree-like disease, which was cured and then not cured and then cured again or something like that. It's very back and forth there. And his powers, he's a mutant naturally. His powers is to basically generate concussive force and heat. And apparently he can, by touching either Banshee or Siren, basically neutralize them and his own powers at the same time. Some kind of feedback thing. They have fairly similar powers, actually. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Naturally, all of this is Marvel's creations, and I'm only telling the story. Do subscribe, like, and share this if you like this. And have a good day and stay safe.